one of the most interesting things about our world today is we're building this big complicated machine, but I'm not quite sure that we're doing a really good job at it. And I think you need to challenge yourself on how well are you doing on your march to the future. Now, I follow a Twitter account, Internet of, and the word is a profanity. It's actually kind of a hilarious Twitter account to follow because what it's doing is it's covering a lot of the things that are happening out there as we go forward into, for example, the world of Internet of Things and connected intelligent devices. And I mean, you know, and I know, we see all kinds of examples of the crazy things that are going wrong out there, the security flaws and challenges that are existing, the privacy issues, the simple mistakes that are being made. I think the challenges are this: the big complicated machine that we're building is not really secure to a large degree. It's not scalable. It's not well architected. It's not properly funded. It's not reliable. It has multiple points of failure. And this is no way to prepare ourselves for a future in which technology is going to define the essence of everything we do as an organization going forward in the future. Just consider some of the crazy things that have happened. I've just compiled a short little list. I mean, there's hundreds of these. There's thousands of these. I mean, remember when Facebook shut down for hours and hours and they couldn't actually get into the server room because it was hyper connected. Their pass system was linked into the actual server infrastructure that went down. And I mean, they actually had to use axes to break down the door, it is said, to get into the room where they could fix the things that brought down Facebook. I mean, we're actually doing this type of thing in this century. We're seeing a lot of situations with devices coming to the market that have Internet of Things connectivity built into them. And, you know, it's laudable. We're trying to change our products. We're trying to do the right things. We're trying to invent a new and different future. But, I mean, we're seeing reports of people that can't use their oven because it can't get a connection and can't do an upgrade and things are going wrong. We're seeing situations where, you know, Amazon is relying on our architecture in which the images are stored in buckets somewhere, and we get a credentials service error that happens, and so as a result, all of their smart machines are showing errors on their images. We're seeing situations in which, you know, my apartment has an app to use a washing machine, and now my washing machine is sending me marketing emails, and you know, this is happening where the marketing department gets involved in our digital infrastructure and views it as an opportunity to do some marketing to the customer and does nothing more than absolutely infuriate them. This is a great one. A flaw in smart feeders could let hackers overfeed your cat. I mean, all the technology that we're putting out there, we're not doing a great job on security. And then there's the whole privacy grab, where organizations are thinking that, hey, we can grab a whole bunch of information about our customers with or without their consent and use that for a bunch of laudable or perhaps nefarious purposes. So your car may actually be recording way more information than you actually know. And then we see, like, you know, absolutely crazy stuff where Amazon, for example, has created a $55 soap dispenser that has Wi-Fi to pair to your Alexa speaker. Like, why? Do we really need this stuff? So I think the challenge is we're building the future and we're not really thinking it through. We're not really doing a good job. And the implications are profound. I mean, if we're going into a world of 24-hour farming with a lot of connected technology and autonomous vehicles and virtualization software, we can't mess things up. If we are building a world of interconnected energy grids and microgrids, where we're linking together our solar infrastructure and our wind infrastructure and our energy infrastructure into our home energy system and thermostats, we've got to do a better job at pulling it together. If we are building a world of healthcare in which we're going to diagnose you before you're sick with a lot of advanced hyper-connected medical device technology, we have to do a better job at it because patients' lives are in essence at risk. If we are going to architect a future world of insurance in which we're aligning to the acceleration of consumer expectations, and somebody expects to be able to go into an automotive lot and buy a car and get a loan approval in 45 seconds and do the same thing with their automotive insurance, we've got to make sure that the infrastructure works or we lose critical business. If we are going to build manufacturing facilities utilizing the industrial Internet of Things and 3D printing and cobotics and robotics and a lot of sophisticated interconnected machines, we've got to make sure it's reliable, robust, scalable. If we're building a world of retail that is really doing everything right in terms of pick and pack and logistics and last mile delivery, we got to do it right. we've got to do a better job. If we are going to architect self-driving autonomous vehicles, we can't put in place an infrastructure that somebody is going to be able to bring down because we left a bucket open somewhere. So my whole issue is that I think we need to do better in terms of the infrastructure that we are putting together. And some years ago, I put together a post, I called it the 11 Rules of IoT Architecture. Now, this could apply to anything we are doing on our digital transformation voyage, but let's go through the list of I think what we really need to be thinking about as we go forward into the future. Any device that we bring out there, for example, should be upgradable. Any device should have the ability to be upgraded from afar automatically, either by user choice or centralized management. This demands that we have a reliable, scalable, robust architecture that can deal with the reality of millions of interconnected devices and do an automatic upgrade that is simply going to work. It's not going to fail because, I mean, we don't want to be the person who's going to bring down farms across North America because we had some type of upgrade issue with our smart, intelligent farming devices. Any device should be feature addition capable. We should be able, in the design of the device, to have the ability to add some capabilities, some of which might not even be imagined at the time of development of the product. You know, any product we develop today, we should have a mindset that we can add features to it in the future. Any device that we bring out there should be prognostic, diagnostic. We should have the ability where the device itself can self-diagnose problems and report when it is working not correctly, or we should have the ability to poll a series of devices to determine where there are potential operating flaws, because this is what it really means to have a hyper-connected, intelligent, connected future. Any device that we bring out there should be self-repairing. The device should not only know when things are going wrong, but should have the capability to fix itself once it's aware of a problem. I mean, if devices are becoming technology, hyper-connected software platforms, we've got to have the ability for those devices to a degree to fix themselves. Devices should be programmable. The device should be modifiable by users. So the whole concept of APIs to add functionality or to add capabilities or draw insight from the device. The device should be modifiable by users to the extent it is possible within a robust, reliable security and privacy architecture. This is absolutely critical. A device should be self-reporting. The device should be able to report on a wide variety of information pertaining to operations, proximity, location, status, because if we're going to deploy this smart future, we've got to have the ability to analyze how well it is working. And I think what this leads to is devices that are swarm data gathering. The device should be able to generate information that, in concert with other similar devices, is able to be manipulated to provide some unique operational, predictive, or maintenance information data set. I talk about this, for example, within the utility sector, that if we're going to have microgrid technology where I've got renewable, you've got solar, we've got a little neighborhood grid that is connected to the larger utility grid, we need this type of swarm data gathering capability to ensure the machine we are building is reliable. The device should be intelligence aware. It should, on launch or in the future, have or be provided capabilities to make its own decisions based upon input data. I mean, this is architecting, thinking through the architect of the device for existing or future artificial intelligence concepts. It should be sensor aware, because any device is not just a standalone device, but it should be able to link to one or more external sensors for additional information in order to extend its functionality. And by virtue of that, it should be grid connectable. It should exist or participate in some sort of connected series of devices to achieve some original or newly conceived purpose. To do that, all of these devices should be individually and collectively addressable. An IP4 address, an IP6 address, and we've got to think through what we're doing in terms of deployment and management of these devices. So it should be accessible either on its own or as part of many predefined groups. And last but not least, it should be secure and inaccessible to it should be secure and inaccessible except to trusted authorities. The device has to be able to do this within a reliable, robust security architecture. Are we doing this? Not at all. And I think that's why we're seeing all these unique challenges that are occurring out there as we build what is becoming a very rocky road and path to the future. There's a phrase I would often use on stage, Ogden Nash, progress is great, but it's gone on way too long. And I think what happens when we don't do it right is people get frustrated. Senior executives begin to question where we're going with our plans. They begin to question what we are doing with our technology and our path forward. But here's the thing. I've discovered in a lot of organizations, the challenge is at the top. I don't see a lot of boards of directors out there in which information technology and IoT architecture and security and privacy and scalability, all these things are a board level responsibility. I mean, a board of directors, we've got responsibility for executive compensation and legal and audit and things like that. How many boards out there have individuals who are responsible for digital transformation? And I've been talking about this for years. How many boards are really paying attention? Some years back, I think it was 15, 20 years ago, I wrote an article, The Next Governance Grenade. What is going to go wrong in organizations? Well, I think I was bang on, because I wrote, if you don't move the issue of corporate infrastructure, digital infrastructure, and network security into the boardroom fast, you may soon find yourself at the receiving end of some pretty nasty regulatory, not to mention legal consequences. And that's what's happening so far in our voyage to the future. We're not doing a good job at it. But to me, when it comes to the future, every challenge is an opportunity. What do you need to do? Let's cover the list of 10 things that I think you need to do right now to accelerate the foundation that you have in place as we go down this path of digital transformation in the era of acceleration, where everything became faster as a result of the global pandemic.